And we are back here with another video. Today we are looking at the Pitt Panthers and Pat Narduzzi's 12th year with this team to see if he can take them to new heights, possibly even a college football playoff berth if he plays his cards right, to see if the defense can once again be dominant, and we see if we have a quarterback at the position here for the Panthers. Let's get started with today's video. My name is Reikley Ruby. Welcome to the Football Expert. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach my goal 6,500 subscribers coming up soon. You guys have been killing it, helping me reach that goal. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell if you never want to miss another video. I have all sorts of these videos coming out and a playlist as well for all my predictions. So if Pitt isn't your team and you're another ACC team just watching this one, the video is probably out. I've done a lot of ACC teams, so just check that out. Otherwise, I will be getting out by the end of the summer. And comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you think about the Pitt Panthers and whether they will, what their record will be. Just comment it right now. Don't let me influence you. Comment your opinion and let me know your thoughts afterwards in another comment. So let's get started with today's video. So Pitt starts off their season against Miami of Ohio. I have this as a win, even though Miami of Ohio is not a bad team in the MAC whatsoever. There are definitely a lot worse teams in the MAC. I think that there are some teams that do have a lot of work to do, and I think that that's one of the interesting components of this. Looking at this team. And looking at where they'll be. I think that when we're looking at Pitt, Mason Heinschel, I hope I'm saying that name right, had a great season last year, obviously took over for Eli Holstein midway through the season and did a pretty good job throughout it. So I think that it will be a good decision here for Narduzzi, who finished out the year 8-5 last year after losing to East Carolina in the bowl game. Always a fun matchup against a team like East Carolina, but I have that as a win. Then the next game against UCF, I have this as a loss, and you could convince me otherwise. I think that this game could go back and forth. Scott Frost back for his second year at UCF, going 5-7 last year, his fourth year overall at UCF, obviously with the prior games there. But had a decent season overall, but lost a lot of returning production. So this is where I could be convinced that this game ends up in the win column. But I do like that it is where UCF is going. And Scott Frost, obviously, in his second year at the program, has done well, has continued to improve. Josh Heupel also had a good 10-year at UCF, but we'll see if that improvement can continue. Building UCF in the right direction. Only going 5-7 last year, obviously, with that and going into this year. So next game on the schedule is a home game against Syracuse. I have this as a very interesting matchup because I'm much higher on Syracuse. I know I haven't done my prediction, so I won't spoil too much for Syracuse. But personally, I have Syracuse as a pretty good team. I think that Steve Angeli is a good quarterback. I think that Fran Brown is a good head coach. And I think that if you're looking at last year after Steve Angeli got hurt, Fran Brown's quarterback, like things fell off. And yes, there isn't a backup plan, but it's also Syracuse. Like there's in this day of college football, you can't have that much depth. You just really, you're not capable of having as much depth as you used to. Definitely at the top end talents like Alabama and Georgia is less so. Less amount of depth. You're not seeing the wide receivers rooms of all first-round draft picks there anymore. But I have this as a win. I think that'll be a close game. But with it being at Pitt on a Thursday night, I have this as a win. But always a very interesting game. Thursday night will be an interesting one. Home game against Bucknell is up next. I have this as a win. Bucknell, not a very good football program. Easy win there. Then a road game against Virginia Tech. I think that this ends up being a win, but a very close one. Friday night in Lane Stadium. If it was Saturday night, now that would be crazy. But Friday night, I think that this ends up being a win for Pitt. I do like where they're at, both offensively. They do have a lot of defensive pieces to fill in, particularly a lot more turnover at the defensive The whole defense, honestly, a lot more turnover than usual for Pat Narduzzi team. So, but at the same time, Narduzzi is always good at being able to replace defensive pieces, particularly on the defensive line. Obviously, Biles last year, 101 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 4 PBUs, 2 interceptions, 12 and a half tackles lost. It's going to be incredibly difficult to reproduce that in a single player, but can you produce that in 3 or 4 players? Can you find a couple of players to can you find a guy on the defensive line to replace the sack production, and a guy at linebacker to replace the tackle production, and a guy at safety to be able to get those couple of picks? Like, you got to be able to replace that production, but it's going to be hard to do it in a single guy because of how talented a player was like Biles. But we'll see what ends up happening. Next game on the schedule, a home game against UNC. I think that this is a win. Again, I think that UNC is not a very good team. I think that Bill Belichick is not a very good football head coach in the modern day college football, particularly. He just doesn't fit. His personality doesn't fit. And honestly, North Carolina, even though I wasn't like, this is a horrible hire, this will end up being the worst hire they've ever had at the football head coaching position, I wasn't that. I was skeptical, but I did not think it would go this badly this quickly. And it just looks like it's heading in a bad direction for North Carolina. So easy win here for Pitt. Then a road game against Boston College, another team in the ACC that I think is just in a rut. Bill O'Brien just does not seem to have the resources there at Boston College to be able to really have a difference maker at running back like they have in the past. A.J. Dillon, the primary example of that, haven't been able to have even the decent quarterback play that you've had in the past at Boston College. I think that this is a bad Boston College team. If you watch my Boston College prediction, which came out earlier this week or last week, I had Boston College going 1-11. I think that they're really bad. They did bring in a Division II transfer, which I'm very interested to see how that will go. No, that was an FCS transfer, Incarnate Word. The transfer from Incarnate Word. So FCS transfer, we'll see if he does anything, but I don't think he will. Then a road game against Miami. I see this as a loss. I think that they pick up the second loss of the season. But do remember, right now I only had them at 1 loss, and this is in November. So I think that this is a highly anticipated game. I'm sorry, October. 1 more week till November. But I think it'll be a highly anticipated game. I think that it will be a loss. But at the same time, Miami does lose to teams that they're not supposed to, but that's where, if you're Pitt for whatever reason, you probably want to have 2 losses going into this game, not just 1, because then Miami will probably overlook you, and that seems to be the strategy against Miami. Obviously, with what happened last year against SMU and against Louisville, that Miami team they pick up dumb losses for some reason, and it's not against horrible teams like my team at Notre Dame. And I say that in a way that I know I will get probably roasted in the comments section, because Pat Narduzzi is a crazy person who hates Notre Dame for no apparent reason. Like, if you're a Pitt fan watching this video, do you have this irrational hatred for Notre Dame the way Pat Narduzzi, your head coach, does? Because he does not like Notre Dame at all. And it's not like Notre Dame and Pitt have a rivalry much anymore. Like, it used to be a pretty big thing back in the 70s, 80s, and then I think even somewhat into the 90s, a big rivalry between Notre Dame and Pitt. The problem is that Notre Dame has dominated Pitt in their last few matchups. They've just taken Pitt out and smacked them around. Just look at last year, 37-15 was a loss there. A few years ago, Pitt was 3-9, so I'll give them a little bit of a break, but they lost 58-7. That was a bad loss. And then there was one a few years ago that was like 45-7 or something. So Pitt and Notre Dame wins that track record going away every day. But either way, lost to Miami. I know that has nothing to do with Miami, but I had to get that out there. Then a home game against Georgia Tech. I see this as a win. I think that this is an easy win for Pitt because of this factor. I think Brent Key and Georgia Tech are a good team. I really do. And if you want to go check that out, that's on my prediction. But Pitt just matches up really, really well with what Brent Key wants to do. They're very athletic defensively. Pitt is a good, solid defensive team that does not do stupid mistakes, and that's what Georgia Tech takes advantage of. And I think that this game will be a little bit bigger of a score compared to how good I think both of these teams will be. So I have that as a win. Then a home game against Florida State. I have this as a win as well. I don't think Mike Norvell is in a good place. I think that he probably gets let go at the end of the season, especially if what I say happens. I think that Florida State is they just seem to be slowly going down. And the Jordan Travis thing seems to be more of an anomaly than the rule more and more as we see the Mike Norvell strategies kind of fall apart. Then a road game against Louisville. I have this as a loss. I think that Jeff Brom is just a tough game. It's just a tough game. And a game at Louisville with so much riding on this because I think that both teams will be good. I think that it ends up going in Louisville's favor because it's on the road. And Louisville is a very underratedly tough place to play. So I have that as a loss. Then finally, last game of the season, all the way across the country against Cal, I have this as a win. So I have Pitt going 9-3, 7-2 in conference. Is that good enough to be able to make the ACC championship? Well, you'll have to check out in August as I release all of my predictions for all of my teams, including not just the Power Four, but all FBS conferences. So as always, hit one of the two videos down below. One will be a playlist of all of my videos, and hit the subscribe button up here. Help me reach my goal, 6,500 subscribers by the end, say, of July 10th. As always, have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.